Hello there, and welcome to Stream Tech Conversations, where we talk with different people in the streaming business. My name is Anthony Barocas. Today, we're going to be talking with the Rome from Rome Knows Tech on Amazon, Rome Wilkerson. He's going to be talking about how he got started in streaming, what is his motivation for streaming, and how he feels the opportunity is there for everyone if you be your true self and use whatever technology you have available to you.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for being on the show, Rome. Tell
Great
us a little bit about your background and how you got into this a little bit.
Well, honestly, I would not consider myself to be a live streamer or a gamer per se. I'm actually a photographer. I also do a lot of multimedia things for my clients. We do some cinematic things, where it comes to corporate events, weddings, photography. All of that stuff is kind of like it's all in one, if you want to look at it from that perspective. At least today it is. Back in the day, it was either photography or video. Now, if you don't do both, you don't have a career.
Right.
And then, before I started live streaming and creating all this content, I was doing this thing called moto blogging. I'm a biker, so I ride a motorcycle. Okay, so I go out on my bike and I have my helmet on, and on my helmet, I will have like a GoPro mounted on the front of my helmet, right? And then a microphone is fed into the GoPro. So anything that I'm talking about or saying is being recorded into the GoPro along with whatever video is going on around me, right?
Right.
And then I will have a second GoPro facing me. So that gives me an opportunity to do kind of like this switch back and forth type of, in post editing, right? But what's really happening is I'm riding down the road talking to myself, okay? And you don't really realize that's comedy in the making until you're sitting at the light on your bike and you look over and somebody is watching you having a whole conversation with yourself on a motorcycle. And that is just comedy gold, right? I mean, literally, I wish there was a PTZ camera on my bike where I could switch over to them and get their reactions to me sitting there just talking about whatever it is I'm talking about. But to me, that's what made it so easy for me to live stream. When I started on Amazon, they start in tiers. There's tiers on Amazon, right? So when you first start, you don't have the exposure. You don't have a generic audience that Amazon is pushing you out to. So you literally just start with whatever people you can attract to come over and watch you, at least for the first couple of streams, right? So in reality, you might be streaming just like gaming to yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're not going to all start off with 100,000, subscribers and followers and, have these dramatic, interactive scenes and all this cool stuff going on. That's not reality. And even if it was, you had an opportunity to blow up overnight. Do you really want that? Do you want that when you're not ready? You want to gradually grow. I sometimes look back at some of my old streams and, one of the cool things about Amazon is it archives everything, right? So I can go back 2.5 years and look at some of those old streams when I was upstairs in my other bedroom and I had limited lighting in the studio. And I mean, it was, as a photographer, I know better, okay? But I would just, I'm not going to burn up my Pro Photo strobes, using them as continuous lights, for these streams. So I'm going to use whatever budget lights I could find. And I reached out to other influencers. Well, hey, what light are you using? Oh, I'm using these light panels. I'm like, well, how much are those? I'm like, oh, well, it's on my stream. I'm like, oh, got it. Buy it. And boom, that's what I've been using. These basic lights that I have here in the studio right now cost under $200. Sometimes you can find them an individual light as little as $40, okay? The tech is not as important as your personality and what you're bringing to the community. I always say the 3 tiers of what you set up for your live stream. Audio is number 1. So right now I'm using this Shure microphone because I wanted my viewers to see that you could purchase one of these lower end microphones and still get the same type of audio dynamics that you could get from, say, something like this Rode Procaster that I normally use in most of my streams, right? This is going to give you that broadcast sound. This is going to make you sound like a DJ, if you have your compression and all of that stuff set up properly, right? And using a device like the Rodecaster, even if you don't know how to set these things up properly, there's a preset. And then over time, you can adapt that preset, right? To modify it so that you sound the way you hear yourself in your own head. Now, for a lot of people, a great shock, my son and I talk about this all the time. A great shock for a lot of content creators is when they first hear their voice recorded. And they're like,
I don't sound like that.
That's not me.
No way.
Who is that?
What did you do to my voice?
What button did I press? Did I press the wrong? Man, this Stream Deck is crazy. So once you get past that, and you will have to get past that.
Everyone does.
That's when you start to really grow as a influencer, content creator, instructor, teacher, whatever the case it may be. Okay. If you can articulate simple things to an individual, forget about the live stream, forget about live streaming, forget about content creating, forget about the camera, forget about the microphone. If you could walk up to a person in a store, as an example, and you see that person struggling and they're looking for something on the shelf, maybe it's a person and they're like, well, I'm going to do something. I need to change the oil on my car. Okay. And they don't know how to determine what filter, what oil they need. If you have that gift of gab where you can walk up and articulate in very simple terms, okay, without turning into a quantum physicist and say, okay, this is what you need. This is what you're going to have to do. Here are some, pitfalls that you may run into. You want to put something underneath the car in case, of spillage and blah, 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 blah. And if you can do that in a very articulate way that anyone can understand, you have what it takes to create this type of content.
I agree, because I find a lot of times people aren't looking for, massive solutions, but they're looking for a way for something to be explained in a way that makes sense to them. So,
yes.
And
yes.
And it's interesting. I just had a conversation this morning about AI content. And the conversation was basically about, like, somebody says, oh, we're building out this website. And I read the first article review, and it repeated itself 3 times. And I was like, well, this is just AI generated, because it's saying the same thing over and over. It's not generating anything new. And I think the easiest way to connect with someone is through experiences, like changing the oil, like you said. If you say, hey, yeah, and you got to make sure you got to put the pan, because there was that time I had it in the wrong place, and when that oil shot out, well, that's something AI can't do. AI can't speak from experience. All it can do is regurgitate press releases that it reads somewhere else. It can't speak from its own experience. So when you and I say, yeah, I use this mic and I like it because when I did this, and that really makes that human connection, I feel, to the person viewing it, because you're speaking human to human. You're not just repeating information.
What I learned over time doing this, like you mentioned before, I go live on Amazon. Now, Amazon primarily is a selling platform. That's what it's designed for. But we're not limited to just, pick up the product. Here is, this product right here. Let me tell you all the highlights of the product. Yes, you want to do that to some degree, but for the most part, what you really want to do is show people how you actually use this product on a daily basis or weekly, however you use it. And that's kind of how I structured my live streams, where instead of just saying, hey, here's an amazing, laser that I have here in the studio, or a 3D printer, or some of the other stuff that you may see over my shoulder, I actually showed them how to do it, how to use it. So the stay-at-home mom, or the dad that's looking for a side hustle, and he's like, okay, I really want to find something that's creative, that's not going to break the bank, and I want to learn how to use it. The biggest problem that most people run into, even when it comes to live streaming, is getting everything set up. before this interview segment, I was talking to another influencer via chat, and she was telling me that, she has basically all the same tech that I have. She has, audio interface, Rodecaster Pro. She has, a PTZ camera. She has a Stream Deck, all of these different things. But they don't know how to use it to its full potential. Not saying that I do, but what I'm saying is these tools can elevate you to the next level. And the one thing that I learned I don't like using the word influencer, but one thing that I've learned on this journey is that if you spend time teaching or sharing with your community, with your audience, you learn at the same time. So every time I talk to someone about, say, something like, one of these YOLO boxes, and I'm like, this YOLO box is great for me as a content creator, but it's also great for me as a photographer, as a videographer, because it's also a monitor. It can do all these other cool things. But I'm not just reading off the specs that you can read for yourself on the product page. I'm showing you how I would actually use it, right? So I would say there are certain personalities that are going to be great as live streamers, and then there are certain personalities that are going to be great as content creators, where they get to actually record the content, go in and edit, retake, segments of it, so that they can get it perfect. That is not live streaming. It's not live streaming. Live streaming is exactly what it sounds like. It's live. So if your green screen falls behind you in the middle of your live stream, there you sit, with, cousin Bubba sitting back there on the couch going, what is happening? Why am I on your live stream? I'm like, roll with it, bro. Just roll with it, So you have to find a way, from my perspective, to integrate your real personality. I don't believe there's such a thing as an alpha male or a beta male. I just think we just have personality. So that's male or female, right? If you're willing to share the inner you with your community, they will come. There's always going to be somebody out there that's willing to guru you. Okay? Beware of the gurus. I learned a long time ago, those who can do, those who can't teach. Let that sink in. Those who can do, those who can't teach, right?
And you will find no shortage of people who want to give you the secret to maximize your thing. And it's like, my favorite is, I get emails, as a video producer, we have turned our business into a 6-figure business and we want to show you how. I'm like, dude, if I had a 6-figure business, I wouldn't waste my time showing other people how to do 6 business.
Exactly. So if I know how to buy real estate with no money down, why in the world would I tell you? Why? There's no logic to that, right? So, but it's still hilarious to me how many people believe that. So I have people reach out to me all the time and they're like, Rome, you make streaming seem so easy. And I'm like, no, it's not easy. But the portion of it that I want to show to the world is easy for me, because this is just my personality. What you see is what you get. I am like this all the time, okay? I try to take and turn the most, well, I'm not gonna say the most serious things, because there are gonna be some things that are too serious to try to joke about, right? But everyday things, you can turn it into a story. If you can make it a story that people can resonate with, it just works, right? If you have a interest in something, if you like to cook, but you don't have those chef skills, then what do? You approach it from the fact that you don't have those chef skills, right? Your skills still may be better than someone else. So you use an air fryer on a regular basis. Okay, let's do some stuff with an air fryer. And at some point on your journey, you will meet professional chefs that are interested in what you've done with the air fryer, and they'll be interested in contributing to the content that you're already creating or whatever the case it may be. I'm just throwing stuff out there just to give you guys some examples of things that you can do, right? If you're into 3D printing, laser engraving, audio, Photoshop, Lightroom, Capture One, whatever it is that you're into, there's someone out there that does not know as much as you know, and they're willing to learn from you. Here's where I feel like most people make their big mistake, because remember, we have that attention span that's this big. You start off trying to sound like the big brands. You start off trying to sound like someone who already has 500,000 followers. Okay, so you're going to do your intro video, you're going to talk about your sponsor, you're going to do all of this kind of stuff, and then about 7 or 8 minutes into it, you're going to start the journey of educating the person about what it is they want to do. You've already lost them, because Bob next door is just going to pick up his phone, and Bob's going to go, this is my Fire TV remote. And when I need to reset it, all I have to do is press these 2 buttons and hold them until the television resets, and it's done. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Okay, so what did you do? You created content within less than 2 minutes of content length runtime, and more people will watch that and benefit from it. And because of the fact you got right to the point, you answered the question that the person was asking. Okay, the easiest content for you to create is with this. And here's the thing that a lot of people miss out on. Those older wireless headphones that all of us have from our old phones, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they have built-in microphones. So I would use sometimes just one headphone, okay? And I could use that to create content, because the microphone inside of this will pick up my voice even as I'm talking, using, feeding it directly into the phone. So most phones will see these wireless microphones as a device that you can use for audio, right? So in a nutshell, in one hand, you have your camera, you have your microphone, you have a way of listening to yourself to see what you sound like, or if you're picking up a bunch of ambient noise around the, wherever you are, you'll know that in advance, right? But even if it's noisy, people will still listen. As long as you have decent audio without a ton of artifacts, you're going to be good to go. People will watch a video that was recorded on a potato if the audio is good, okay? But you could have 12K footage and you got some, I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out.
And I literally just said that on last week's show, all about microphones. I said the same exact thing. So you and I are like thinking the same way. It's like, I had somebody tell me years ago, it's radio with pictures.
That's it. So you don't have to like your own voice. You don't have to like all of this. Everybody can't be beautiful like me, with my luxurious hair. Okay. But yeah, okay. Anyway, that's a very long ongoing joke. Don't go there. But anyway, the point I'm making is, if you're confident with yourself to some degree, you don't have to be that alpha person. You don't have to be built like, a linebacker that lives in a gym. Okay. You don't have to have this beautiful, luxurious home. Do a virtual background if you want to, but more people are attracted to you as the individual. That's what brings them in. I learned on the job. I opened the box. I followed the instructions. I read the Okay, I didn't read the manual. I watched the YouTube video. Okay, but I held the manual in my hand as if I was gonna read it. Okay, and then what happened was, this is my story. I'm sticking to it. Then what happened was, I put it together in just a few minutes. I printed my first thing. And where is it? I don't even know where it's at. But anyway, I printed my first thing with the 3D printer. This is a small desktop size compact laser.
Wow.
Okay. You could take this thing anywhere. Maybe you want to do some metal business cards, dog tags, any of that kind of cool stuff, right? So that within itself is a whole category of live streaming. You could take one device, and go through 20, 30, 40 different scenarios of things that you have done with that one device, showing people step by step how you did it, okay? That's the key. You're showing people the real you and how you do things.
You said content that people can use to move their self forward on their journey. We're all in different cars on the same train. We're all going to the same place.
Yes,
it's like,
yes,
yeah, some people are further ahead on another car, but there's always somebody else behind you, but there's also somebody else always ahead of you. I tell people, I don't know everything there is to know about streaming. I don't know everything there is to know about every camera, but I know what I know, and I know there's somebody else that could benefit if I could explain it in a way that could help them.
And the most important thing that you definitely need to know is to know that there's things, like he said, you don't know. I received my Stream Deck 3 days ago. I already have multiple scenes set up. I have a profile for Photoshop. I have a profile for Final Cut, a profile for all these different applications that I use, right? Including the icons that represent each one of the key commands or whatever it is that I would use within those programs, right? And you're like, wow, if you see this, you're like, woo, that's impressive, Rome. That's impressive. You, man, you must have been using that thing for like 99,000 gazillion years. Yeah, that's a real number. 99,000 gazillion years. And I'll be like, no, I got this 3 days ago. But YouTube, the YouTubes is the YouTube University, okay? If you have an open mind, you can learn anything. You're only limited by your imagination as to things you can talk about, that you can attract people that are also interested in. Just Google a subject and look at the extensions. Like you say, model car racing, okay? And then it'll say, some other examples of things that people have searched for. Those are some of the things that you may want to also talk about, right? How to build a racetrack, how to modify the cars, how to make the cars go faster, how to keep them from flying off, off the track and popping your significant other in the head. This is one of my cinema cameras, okay? Now, most of you guys are probably definitely not going to be investing $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in one of these cameras. This is great. It's a Sony camera, interchangeable lens. You can add your matte box, your shotgun mics, and all that kind of cool jazz, right? On a set, this looks super cool, okay? But in reality, this is just as efficient. That's the point I'm trying to drive to. This is just as efficient. If you're producing content just to be seen on a platform in the beginning, if you're not working for a client that expects to see this walk in, then you can walk in with, you can create your content with this, a GoPro. You don't need a $5,000 camera to do the same job that this GoPro can do. Yes, ego-wise, it makes us feel good to go, I got the new Sony, Magic thing, I sleep next to it. My precious. But if your precious ain't bringing in some cash flow, your precious is a gold digger. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
And also don't let not having the gear that you think you need hold you back too, because as you've said, it's about the content, it's about the message, and it's radio with pictures. So it's like, make sure that you're telling a story that you connect with the audience, and that you are telling this story that they can connect with and provide something that's usable. This is how you reset the remote. Thanks for watching.
Yep. That's it. That's all I wanted to know. And guess what? I'm going to follow you, and I'm going to like your video. Your little 32-second, less than 50-second video is going to get more likes than the guy with the $4,000 drone, flying through the Amazon, past the beautiful girls and all. His video is gonna get some likes too, okay, because we're human. But the other guy is gonna grow organically if he keeps creating that type of content, right? The big guy, they got to fly all over the world to kind of make stuff like that happen. So the money they make doesn't necessarily balance out because it costs so much to produce something like that. That's the point I'm getting. So regardless of what it is, if somebody asks you, man, one of my little glass things fell off of my glasses, how do you replace those? That's the video you want to make. Okay, that's things that you want to add to your live streams. When these things happen for real, when it happens for real in the real world, people want to hear about it. They want to know, how did you approach that thing? Take your live streams, cut them up into small segments, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the funny segment is, and post it after the live stream. Gamers do this all the time, okay? Gamers do this all the time. Anything can inspire your audience, can trigger your audience. Encourage them to screenshot if you're live, to screen capture and repost it. They see something funny, repost it. If you're streaming and you're using OBS or you're using Streamlabs OBS, there is a playback feature where you can snip, 20, 10, 15 seconds of your video, just like if you were game playing, right? Something funny happens, save that MP3, save that MP4 and post it tomorrow, or just go back through the video and find that clip, so that you can use it later. And I'm telling you guys, this stuff works. Now, I'm going to be honest. I never spent the time to do it the way it should be done. I just do it whenever I feel like it. I'm laying on the couch, looking for something to do and say, okay, I've done 5 videos today. I got a live stream tonight. Maybe I'm just scrolling through my stream and I'm like, oh, that's a funny clip. Let me go ahead and snip that clip and just throw it up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. It works. And honestly, I just started doing this a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So if you guys start seeing what looks like one of my live streams, and you see some graphics that say that I'm live, it's just from one of those live streams. Okay. So I feel like what that's going to do is going to encourage people to come and watch your content when you are live. I mean, it's just true. It's true. So, take it with whatever, grain of salt you like. That's the way I approach it. And I encourage others. On Amazon, we can't promote off-site. So I can't say, go and check out, my friend's stream over on YouTube. We can't say it. But if you post it in the comments and it's appropriate, that's you. Okay. Now, right now, it is so simple to do multi-streams. OBS, Streamlabs, right now, you can stream to 2 destinations for free at the same time. Okay, you can stream to, like in my case, I'm streaming to Amazon, I can stream to Facebook, or I can stream to YouTube. But it's limited for free that you're going to stream 1 horizontal, 1 vertical, but it's still free. Same camera, same microphone, same everything, right? No problem. Instagram. You can now stream from OBS on Instagram. All you have to do is set up a professional account. It's free. Go in, get your stream key, get your URL, add that to OBS or whatever app you want to use, and just have fun with it. Okay. Now, of course, we have these devices that make it easier to do this. But again, if you don't have the budget for those things yet, use what you have. Okay. You be like, well, Rome, all I got is a phone. How am I going to do multi-streaming and multi-channel switching and blah, blah, blah? All I got is a phone. OBS is on the phone. You can install OBS, Streamlabs OBS on your phone. You can play games. You can still have the camera on you. You can do all of that from your phone, okay? Play whatever you like and people will watch. But if they don't watch, don't worry about it. Use that content to attract people for the future, okay? You're telling a story. So while you're playing, you're like, hey man, I'm sitting out here at Starbucks, y'all. I'm drinking my coffee, and the coffee was amazing. And they gave me this little cookie thing, and I'm eating the cookie thing, and I'm still playing my game, and I'm streaming from my phone, y'all, from my phone. And other people will want to do it too. Okay? If somebody helps you out, if you learn something from them, shout them out. It's not going to take anything away from you. Shout them out. And maybe they'll do the same, or someone else will do the same for you in the future. But even if they don't, you feel good about it. Your audience got to learn about another person that they can benefit from at the same time. It's a winning scenario, guys. Trust me, it's a winning scenario. So me personally, is I'm impressed and inspired by people like you. So I send your links to other people. Like when I'm like, hey, you're interested in the YOLO box. So yeah, you can come on my stream and I will demo it, or you can watch one of the videos where I did a, kind of rundown on it. But if you want to know the down and dirty, of how to do this and do that and the green screen and this and make the monkey fly, check out my guy over here. Okay. Now, did that take anything away from what I'm doing? No. And if anything, the person feels like you are trying to help them, and you're promoting the fact that this guy knows as much or maybe much, much more about a product than you do, and you're willing to expose them to that person. That still puts you in a good light. Trust me. Be a good human. That's all I'm saying. All right? You can do anything in this world if you set your mind to it, but set realistic expectations and at least try to reach the bare minimum of your goal set. Okay? Don't start me because you want to be the next multi-millionaire. You're flying in on the jet and rolling in the limo and all that kind of nonsense. No, I'm not saying that that's not possible, because we've seen it happen, but it's for a very, very small portion of the community. Okay. You can still achieve wealth from this endeavor, this journey, even if that wealth is just peace of self. Okay. It doesn't always turn into dollars and cents.
Like to what you've said, you don't need any of that to get started. You can get started. Everybody's in a different place. This is where I am now. This is not where I was a year ago or 2 years ago. And everybody's in a different place. And you should not hold yourself back from starting because you're not starting where you want to. Starting somewhere, starting anywhere is better than not starting.
I often say at the beginning of the year, every year, you'll look back at the next year, you'll look back on the year past, right? You'll either be extremely proud of what you've accomplished or very disappointed that you wasted another year doing absolutely, well, I'm not gonna say nothing, but not doing the things that inspire you, that you truly want to do. Be the you that you want to be, not the you that somebody else wants you to be, or whatever the case it is. Be you. And most importantly, from my perspective, be a good human. Be a good human. Okay? If you share with others, I'm not saying that every person's going to share with you, but there will be that percentage of them that will share with you. And those are the ones that you want to gravitate and have them around you and you be around them, and that's how you grow, because they will encourage other people to watch your content, to follow you, and so on, right? So no, you don't have to have the best webcams out there. You don't have to have the latest, PTZ camera or whatever the case it is. The camera that I'm using right now has AI tracking, face tracking, gesture controls, and all that kind of cool jazz. Are we using any of that now? Nothing. It's just a static shot, right? So that means that static shot could have been done from a 5-year-old iPhone.
I appreciate you for being on the show, letting us have this conversation, because I feel you have a wealth of experience, and clearly, I really appreciate your insight into getting started and not letting technology hold you back. I think that those are just, fantastic takeaways for people who are interested and don't know where to go, but still want to do something. But with that, I want to say thank you all for watching this week's Conversations. I look forward to having you back next week on another Conversations. And with that, my name is Anthony Barocas for Stream Tech. Thanks for watching.